Well, it's the final day of September, which means spooky season is right around the corner. Though Bengals fans have been dealing with spooky season this entire year because, yikes. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Goodbye, September. Hello, October football. Grossi. And today we are going to be breaking down and ranking the top 10 teams heading into week 5 of the 2025 NFL season. And as we get further along this season, we're going to start to see some of the better teams pull away from the pack, not meaning the Packers, hopefully. And those identities are going to start to get sorted out. However, there are still some major question marks, even with the two remaining undefeated teams. You look at the Eagles, who can only apparently play one half of football, and you look at the Bills, and their defense is questionable, to say the least. But hey, they haven't lost a game, and at least you're not a team that looked really good. Oh, I don't know, let's say the first 2 weeks, and the last 2 weeks, you have no idea what's going on. I'm not mentioning any team specifically. I needed this bye week. Before we get into the top 10, it's time for some honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is actually going to go to the New England Patriots. Patriots fans heading into this season, they had some expectations. Maybe their team could be a wild card contender, but it was all going to depend on how their offensive line was going to protect Drake May, how Drake May was going to develop, and hell, if their wide receivers would actually catch and run with the football, because that has been a bit absent in New England for a few seasons. But the Patriots dropping over 40 points on the Panthers this past Sunday. And I know it's the Panthers who do not seem like a good football team, which makes the Falcons' loss to them even more questionable. But their offense deserves a ton of credit here because now you see that they're actually capable of putting up this many points. Drake May has been developing nicely as the season has gone along. It looks like the protection has gotten better. And when they establish that run and not fumble 4 times like they did the week prior, oh, look, this offense can actually be pretty good. They have a big-time showdown on Sunday Night Football with the Buffalo Bills, so we will see how good the Patriots actually are. And so for right now, they get an honorable mention, but who knows? Maybe they can be in the top 10 next week. Following that, you gotta give a shout out to the New York Giants. That's right, New Jersey. You got the New York Giants moniker back as they were able to defeat the Chargers this past Sunday. Jackson Dart in his first NFL start. And listen, even though he's still behind that terrible offensive line, you gotta give him some credit because he gave some life to that offense. Now, unfortunately for the Giants, Malik Neighbors is done for the year, and so that is a catastrophic loss for this Giants team, who we already didn't expect to be great. We looked at their defense and said they had a lot of potential, and it was also going to be dependent on their quarterback situation. But here, a big win for the rookie QB. I don't know how good the Giants are going to be the rest of the season, but like I said, the offense seemed to have a little bit more juice with Jackson Dart. We'll see if he finds any more success this season. But the Giants, you get a shout out for this week. And finally, you gotta shout out the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers. Last week, I didn't give him a ton of credit for that win because Ramondre Stevenson was like, here you go. No, I don't want to win this football game. But the Steelers being able to take care of the Vikings in Ireland. Aaron Rodgers looked pretty damn efficient. He was getting the ball out quickly. But there was 2 things that stood out to me about that game. One, the defense looked much, much better. And hold on, there's some caveats there because one, you're going up against a banged up offensive line that the Vikings currently have, and also Carson Wentz. But the second thing I got to give him credit for is actually establishing the run. Jalen Warren didn't even play in that game, but the Steelers were able to move the ball on the ground, creating a balanced offense. And even though it got a little bit close at the end, the Steelers were able to close it out. The other reason I got to shout out the Steelers is because right now they are leading the AFC North. And honestly, their competition in that division does not look great. The Cleveland Browns don't have an offense. The Bengals really don't have an offense. And the Ravens, yeah, they're going through it right now. And so because of that, the Steelers are in prime position to potentially create some space between them and their division rivals. And so because of that, after a big win, I got to give them a shout out. Getting into our top 10 and starting off with number 10, you got the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks. Welcome to Power Rankings. You've been getting some honorable mentions the past couple weeks, but now you find yourself in the top 10. And the Seahawks, there's some room for optimism here. Sam Darnold looking pretty darn good behind a revamped offensive line. They're able to establish the run. The defense has been getting better ever since it really started to improve last season under McDonald, and they were able to knock down the Arizona Cardinals on Thursday night. And even though that game got away from them in the fourth quarter and the Arizona Cardinals offense actually started to wake up, the Seahawks did enough to win that football game, mostly because the Arizona kicker screwed up the kickoff, but hey, you take it where you can get it. But for the Seahawks, they just seem like a more balanced football team this year. We spoke about this defense, and last year you really started to see it come together, and this year it's looked pretty good besides that fourth quarter against the Cardinals. And taking a look at that offense, actually getting protection for Sam Darnold, you saw how good he could be with the Vikings last year after bringing them to 14 wins, and then also saw how bad that offensive line could be after getting destroyed by the Rams. But the Seahawks are set up pretty nicely within this division. I think their main competition is going to be against the Rams, who got a gutsy win against the Colts this past Sunday. But the 49ers, they are dealing with a litany of injuries. Their offensive line does not look great right now. And on top of that, the Cardinals, yeah, their offense is not inspiring anybody either. So because of that, the Seahawks find themselves in the top 10. And I know Seahawks fans are just watching their team win while Geno Smith throws 3 interceptions with the Raiders.
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
Number 9, you got the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts could have ascended to new heights if A.D. Mitchell didn't fumble that ball or also get called for holding on that Jonathan Taylor touchdown run. And unfortunately, their undefeated start with Daniel Jones might be gone, but it will never be forgotten.
That belongs in a museum. So do you.
But the Colts are still in the top 10, and I think for a lot of NFL fans, maybe the Colts earned some of their respect, because these past few weeks, a lot of folks were wondering, are the Colts for real? And now going toe-to-toe with the Rams and nearly winning that game if it wasn't for a couple of bad plays, yeah, the Rams are a good football team, and I think the Colts deserve to be here. Also within that division, I think their main competition is going to be the Jaguars, as the Texans, they just won their first game. The Titans didn't score a single point this week, and so the Colts are sitting pretty right now in the AFC South. Daniel Jones, while it wasn't his best game, was definitely not the reason they lost that football game. And while teams within their own division, like the Texans, have a good defense, and the Jaguars' defense does look a lot better from last year, you're not going to have to go against the pass rush of the Rams every single week. Also, the Rams have Puka Nacua, and yeah, he's pretty damn good. But for the Colts, I think they shut up a lot of potential naysayers this week, and so while they didn't come away with the win, they came away with my respect, even though I already had some respect to them before, but you get it. Number 8, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look at you, Jaguars. I picked you to win this week, and they did against the San Francisco 49ers. We were just talking about that Jaguars defense, which, holy cow, that looks like that has improved massively from last year. And again, bar was very, very low, but hell, improvement. Taking a look on the offensive side of the ball, no interceptions for Trevor Lawrence. Travis Etienne continues to lead the way. And while that offense hasn't reached its next level, even though we have said this about the Jaguars for multiple years, it does feel like this is a much improved team from last season. They were able to knock off the undefeated 49ers, who they themselves are dealing with a ton of injuries. Their offensive line definitely did not look good. Brock Purdy struggled on Sunday. But ultimately, the Jaguars played a pretty balanced football game. And with the rationale for the Colts within that division, I gotta give the same credit to the Jaguars. The Colts are the main competition in the AFC South for Jacksonville, and if they're able to get a big-time win or keep it close against the Chiefs on Monday night, I think a lot more people are gonna be talking about Jacksonville in the coming weeks. But the Jaguars were able to get a statement win this past Sunday, and Liam Cohen, well, he had a message for Robert Saleh after the game too.
Keep my name out your f***ing mouth!
I'm going to.
Duval.
Oh, wow.
Number 7, they're back. You got the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs absolutely beating the crap out of the Baltimore Ravens. And the Chiefs are starting to look like the Chiefs of old again.
We are back, baby. We are back. Classic. We are back. We are back.
Somehow, Kansas City has returned. But let's talk about the Chiefs. They got their first win last week against the Giants on Sunday Night Football. And even though it wasn't the prettiest of wins, Isaiah Pacheco looked to be better on Sunday night. And on top of that, they were able to pull away from the Giants at the end of that game. Now, heading into this game against the Ravens, both desperately needed a win. And the Chiefs were the only team that actually looked like they wanted to win that football game. And I know the Ravens are beat to hell right now. They are currently not in these power rankings, just like my Packers, because I have no idea who the Packers are anymore. But besides the Ravens getting beaten up with new injuries, they were just dominated by the Chiefs. And by the late stages of this game, it was not close. Xavier Worthy seemed to unlock that Chiefs offense. They have desperately been missing him, whether it's in the ground game or in the passing game. He was able to make an impact almost immediately. On top of that, their ground game did look better, and they were able to ground whatever the hell Lamar Jackson was trying to do out there. And ultimately, the Ravens had no answers for the Chiefs, and they seemed to give up midway through that game. And so while a lot of folks, including myself, are currently down on the Ravens, I gotta give the Chiefs credit for winning back-to-back games. They now have an important game against the Jaguars on Monday night, and if they're able to win that game, Rashee Rice's return is right around the corner, and that offense might be looking even better. Number 6, you got the LA Chargers. Chargers fans, you were worried. We were waiting for the other shoe to drop the entirety of those first 4 weeks, and now Chargers fans have to see their offensive line fall apart right in front of them. Again.
Not like this. Not like this.
It was a rough Sunday for the Chargers, and not only because they lost against the Giants to a rookie QB in his first start, but also because they lost Joe Alt for at least a few weeks as he is dealing with an ankle injury. And now with Slater and Alt out, yeah, that offensive line has taken some hits. And unfortunately for the Chargers, that's not the only injuries that they're dealing with, but I would say that those are the most important. Justin Herbert had his worst game of the season so far, and yes, you got to give credit to the Giants defense because they are pretty good. But ultimately, why the Chargers are falling so far down is, again, not just because of the loss to the Giants, but because of their future outlook. They don't have the easiest of schedules in front of them, and now missing 2 of their key pieces on that offensive line, it's going to be tough going forward. The good news, the defense is still pretty good, and Omari and Hampton looked really good in Najee Harris's absence on Sunday. And so if Hampton can get things going, you know how much that Harbaugh loves to run the ball. I still think they're a pretty damn good team, and while you do have to worry about the protection for Justin Herbert and them opening up run lanes in the future for Hampton, I do still think the Chargers deserve a top 10 spot. We'll see how bad those injuries are going to impact them over these next few weeks, but for right now, the Chargers remain in the top 10. Just don't Charger it. Number 5, you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, another team who suffered a loss this past Sunday, this time against the Philadelphia Eagles. And listen, that first half was some ugly football from the Buccaneers. We've been praising Tampa these past few weeks because of the grittiness of their wins. Baker Mayfield has been so clutch, finding new ways to win, even with their offensive line in shambles, all those injuries. And while things didn't start off well on Sunday, they were able to battle back in the second half and make that a much more respectable game. And because of that, they deserve some credit going up against the reigning defending Super Bowl champs. And some good news for the Buccaneers, even in that loss, Bucky Irving is still that guy. Tristan Wirfs was back on the field, and Chris Godwin even returned, even though things are a bit different now with Igbuka on the roster.
Who are you?
I'm Pam. Who are you?
I'm the owner of this house.
Oh.
But for the Buccaneers, they still lead in the NFC South, and considering their only competition right now in that division is the Atlanta Falcons, who we still have no idea about, I think the Buccaneers are sitting pretty right now. They're a team that's going to get better as the season goes along, barring any injuries. Mike Evans will eventually return, and then we're going to see the three-headed monster of Godwin, Igbuka, and Evans, which, oh man, that offense is going to be a lot of fun to watch. And so even in defeat, the Buccaneers still find themselves in the top 5. I still think they're a gritty football team, and we'll see if Baker bakes up something a bit better next Sunday. Number 4, you got the LA Rams. The Rams coming away with a win, defeating the Indianapolis Colts for their first loss this season. And the Rams, they have looked pretty darn good. They lost a heartbreaker last week to the Eagles, in which they could have won with a game-winning field goal. However, it was blocked and returned, and so the Rams came in with a little bit of anger this week, and they took it out against the Indianapolis Colts. And while it was a very close game, you gotta shout out a few wide receivers. Besides A.D. Mitchell, who was basically a Rams wide receiver on Sunday, Devontae Adams had a touchdown, and Puka Nacua is a literal god. Puka Nacua in just these first 4 weeks has over 500 receiving yards. The second best receiver in terms of yards is 100 yards beneath him, and that's JSN from the Seahawks. And so yeah, Puka is having one hell of a season, and that offense looks really good when Matthew Stafford is healthy and they're able to get all of those weapons going. The defense did enough to win that football game, and like I mentioned, it was a close game, which is why I'm giving so much respect to the Colts. But the Rams being able to pull it out, especially after that heartbreaking loss against the Eagles, yeah, I think they're a pretty damn good team this year. I was hyping up the Rams a whole lot this past offseason, and so far, that looks to be paying off. The Rams offense is clicking, their defense looks pretty good, and for right now, they remain tied for the top spot in the NFC West. Number 3, again, why do I do power rankings? You got the Detroit Lions. Yeah. This is so much fun. I'm really enjoying this. The Lions sending a message to the Green Bay Packers this past Sunday after easily taking care of the Cleveland Browns.
Do you know how easy this is for me? Do you have any f***ing idea how easy this is? This is a f***ing joke.
Oh, so it is easy to beat Cleveland. Who would have guessed? But let's talk about Detroit. They have had a nice renaissance these past 3 weeks. After the week 1 loss against the Packers, where their offense looked all out of sorts, they have looked pretty damn good since. They blew out the Bears. They took care of the Ravens in prime time, running all over them, sacking Lamar Jackson 7 times. And this past Sunday, even against a good defense, that offense still looked good. Jared Goff had phenomenal protection from that offensive line. They were still able to rub the ball efficiently with Gibbs. And that defense, especially the pass rush, talking about Aiden Hutchinson, good God, man, whether it's Muhammad or Hutchinson, they've been looking real good, and Hutch looks to be picking up right where he left off last season. Now, there are some concerns with the Lions, especially with the secondary. DJ Reed got banged up in that game, as well as Terry and Arnold, and so you're going to have to keep an eye on that. But ultimately, for the Lions, they have looked really good these past 3 weeks, whether it's against a team that could put up a ton of points like the Ravens, or it's a team like the Cleveland Browns who have a really good defense. But the Lions find themselves atop the NFC North once again, and with the Packers having an identity crisis, yeah, it might be for a little bit. Number 2, you got the Buffalo Bills. The Bills, it was not the prettiest of games on Sunday against the Saints, but I feel like they would have just felt bad if they beat the Saints too much.
It was easier than taking candy from a premature baby.
I'm just gonna take this.
And as we mentioned, the Bills defense having some question marks, especially that run defense. You hope that they're going to get better as they get some guys back from injury. But let's talk about that offense. Josh Allen doing what he needs to do on Sunday to get that win. But James Cook, talking about the extension that he got, and I know there were some Bills fans who were a little bit weary about giving him a major extension because he only had 1 real season of productivity. He is off to a really nice start this season and is one of the reasons why they've been able to find some early success this season. Because that Bills offense operates at its very best when they have a balanced attack. They were able to run the ball efficiently with James Cook last year, and of course, Josh Allen is Josh Allen. He won an MVP. And while their receivers are not the splashiest, they remain the only undefeated team in the AFC. And considering the Ravens are 1-3, the Chiefs just won their second game, and their division is not giving them a ton of problems, the Bills look poised to make a deep run this year. I know it's only going into October, and there still are question marks about this team, but overall, the Bills, I feel like, have the roster to beat up some of the better teams in this league. Of course, they'll be tested as the season goes along against games like the Chiefs, but for right now, they're the only undefeated team left in this conference, so because of that, they get the 2 spot. And number 1, no surprises here, you got the Philadelphia Eagles holding on to that number 1 spot, even though they cannot play a full 4 quarters of football. Either the first half is going to be bad or the second half is going to be bad. This week, the second half wasn't as good. They were dominating the Buccaneers in that first half. And again, Jalen Hurts is not doing anything flashy, even though they did have that fake tush push with Saquon Barkley, who ultimately got them a touchdown. The Eagles are still a really balanced football team. Their defense is doing enough to win games. And honestly, taking a look at the Eagles, they are sitting freaking pretty. They're the only undefeated team left in the NFC. Taking a look at their division, the Commanders are missing Jaden Daniels and Scary Terry. The Giants were able to get their first win, which is something. And the Cowboys, they're tying the Packers on Sunday night. And while their offense looks really good, it doesn't seem like they have a defense. And so while the Eagles haven't had that juggernaut kind of performance that folks are expecting out of them just yet, they are a gritty team and a battle-tested team. This is a team that I think is still going to go deep into the playoffs and not a team you're going to be wanting to play in January, especially in Philadelphia. And so once they figure out how to play a full 4 quarters of football, watch out, because the Eagles are still looking good, even though A.J. Brown is back to posting cryptic things on social media.
I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It's
Gets
gross.
the people going.
Should have stuck with the books. Eagles at 1. And so just to recap here, at number 1, you got the Eagles, 2 Bills, 3 Lions, 4 Rams, 5 Buccaneers, 6 Chargers, 7 Chiefs, 8 Jaguars, 9 Colts, and 10 Seahawks. But let me know who you think should be on this list, who should be off of it. Let me know. You know, I saw me at TomGrossiComedy.com, and a big shout out and thank you to all the Patreon and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.